congregation has participated in a Unitarian Universalist Association program called Soul Matters, which provides a theme for worship and activities for 10 months out of the year, from September to June. And as a participating congregation, we get to suggest themes and vote on what themes we're going to use that year. And in return, the UUA provides us with resources and packets for worship, for religious education, and for small group ministry, which is our covenant groups. So if you're in a covenant group or you're a covenant group facilitator, you're probably already familiar with those themes and those packets. But in a recent worship committee meeting and in the Children's and Youth Religious Exploration Committee, we've been kind of talking and realizing that although we know what the theme of the month is, and we spend a lot of time with it, the rest of the congregation may not really know what the theme is and have access to those resources. So we started thinking about ways that we could kind of expand this to the rest of the congregation. And I should add that we recently, a few months ago, started participating in a new program which is called Soulful Home, which provides resources for families to explore the theme of the month at home around the dinner table or when they're out and about in the neighborhood and such. So one of the things we decided to do was to introduce a soulful moment on the theme for a small portion of each service every week. And for the month of June, the theme is beauty. So our soulful moment for today is asking the question, what makes a person beautiful? And we want to practice the skill of appreciating and honoring the beauty and worth of others and ourselves. So our goal is to be able to name the beauty in those around us and ourselves. So we're going to ask you each week to go on a treasure hunt to find beauty. So our treasure for today is this. Do you want to see the spirit of life, God, ultimate mystery, sacred reality, the real treasure? Turn to the person next to you and smile. That is God, spirit of life, ultimate mystery, sacred reality, and your real treasure for today.
Building on what Karen shared, I want to add these words. When we consider beauty, I imagine that many of us immediately think of the wonders of nature or great art, music, poetry. The particular images that come into our minds are shaped in part by what our culture tells us is beautiful. We are all raised in tribes of people who find beauty in an amazing variety of objects and people. For years, I've been fascinated by the diverse beliefs and practices of wide-ranging cultures, people whose dress and customs are radically different than my own. Perhaps I think that's why this little book, People, that we shared a few minutes ago, has been so special to me, and I think I enjoyed reading it to my children more than they enjoyed it. The diversity of the noses and the shapes of the eyes and the costumes which adorn the body truly are amazing and wondrous. Beauty is as complex and diverse as the human family. And many aspects of beauty are rejected depending on where we live and what the dominant culture is. Perhaps what we consider to be beautiful is one of the things that shapes beliefs in us and them. Learning to appreciate people from other cultures, whether those cultures are on the other side of the world or the other side of town, can help us expand our appreciation of beauty. One of the pictures, the paintings that I go back to is Norman Rockwell's The Golden Rule. I think it's incredibly beautiful and meaningful. The words are surrounded by people from diverse races wearing garbs of many nations. Each figure is beautiful. That picture represents the ideal for me of people and unified, a peaceful and unified human family. But let's be honest with ourselves. We aren't there yet. Or at least most of us aren't there yet. Even as we continue to understand more of the beauty and diversity, we still judge what we deem to be beautiful or not beautiful. As I've thought about this service over the last few weeks, I found myself troubled by aspects of the discussion of beauty. Things that show up on social media and among healthcare professionals. So as we consider what is beautiful, I'd like for us to think about what happens when there is a search for a certain kind of physical beauty that now is becoming a major issue in that multi-billion-dollar industry. It's a concern that I have that our search for perfect beauty can be destructive to our self-esteem and even to our love of self. Even as we honor the beauty and diversity of the human family, I believe that our rejection of beauty in other people and cultures often begins with our lack of acceptance of the beauty that's within us. Or, to put it another way, how can we accept the beauty in others when we cannot accept our own beauty? The beauty of who we are right now, just as we are. I imagine each of us can remember over the years, or maybe yesterday, when we tried to figure out how we wanted to look, how we wanted to present ourselves, what mask we would show to society. After all, what's cool? What's socially acceptable? What is approved of by our family or friends? Each of us has had experiences of being bullied, shunned, shamed, ignored, because we didn't fit into some norm held as beautiful by others. I know that each of us wants to be seen as beautiful, or as my granddaddy used to say, beauty is as beauty does. Inner beauty, while not a priority in much of society, actually is the focus of many stories that we read to children that are important in our culture. Beauty and the Beast comes to mind. Remember the townspeople who came after the enchanted prince to destroy him because he was different. A manifestation of that extreme bullying can be seen today in children. Because of peer pressure, the lack of acceptance of our own beauty and worth begins at a very early age for our children. Little girls as young as 5 or 6 have anxiety about their body image, about needing to diet or feel ridiculed because of how they look. Little boys are told that they have to be a particular stereotype. Children today at very early ages worry what their family and society deems to be beautiful or acceptable. Suicide among our children is increasing. I worry about body shaming of young people who don't fit what others consider to be the norm. What I find really shocking is that as beauty enhancements become the norm, plastic surgery becomes a popular high school graduation present for young women. And it doesn't stop with that age. A colleague just posted on Facebook whether women over 70 could wear maxi dresses. Can't we forget about the social pressures at 70 or 80 or maybe 90? Social media expands the harassment. It tells us the kind of man or woman we must be to be acceptable. We need to stop, just stop, and reconsider how to recover the affirmation of the full range of beauty in the human family. One of the things that we need to cherish in the natural world is the diversity of the beauty of human beings. I invite us to return to a priority of loving our own beauty, men and women, the beauty just as who we are. I encourage us to return to an understanding of a deeper honoring of beauty, a return to the whole breadth and depth of the beauty of the earth and the beauty of us, the inner and outer beauty that flows. Love ourselves so that we can love the beauty we find in others. There's a little hymn in the Teal hymn book that says, return again, return again, return to what you are, return to who you are, return to the home of your soul. The key for us is to remember, to remind ourselves over and over, because it's so easy to forget our own worth and beauty with all the pressures of our daily lives. Let us remember that we too are part of the beauty of the world. When we bless and affirm the diversity of the human family, we are blessing ourselves too. Let us remember to love ourselves so that we no longer feel we need to hide behind the masks we create to protect ourselves. Let us nurture our authentic selves, our real selves. Perhaps that's part of the search for beauty as we learn to love ourselves and others. I know that many of you know this lovely quote from the Velveteen Rabbit about what it means to become real. That's the essence of beauty. To be real, to be loved, to be seen as beautiful because people love us. So here's a little quote. Real isn't how you're made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real. Does it hurt? asked the rabbit. Sometimes, said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. When you are real, you don't mind being hurt. Does it happen all at once like being wound up, the little rabbit said, or bit by bit? It doesn't happen all at once, said the skin horse. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. Let us commit ourselves to becoming real. For in becoming wholly ourselves, beautiful, real, and beloved, we can freely open ourselves to the beauty and diversity of the human family. We come to understand that our beauty is a reflection of the beauty of each human soul. This deep acceptance of others becomes a way to understand that our world truly is one world. Let us rise in body or spirit as we share hymn number 134.